We have a passion for the hunt.
We just pulled through the gate here. It's our first stand in Nebraska. Got my good buddies Matt, he's a fellow Sandhills rancher, and old Rick Paillet, he made the trip up from Kansas. This is only his second time ever in the Sandhills, so hopefully he's gonna be in for a treat. You know, just to give you guys perspective, you know, we're in the heart of Nebraska in the Sandhill country here. You know, we had about a 45-minute drive from the closest town this morning, and that town's only, what, population of 100? 200 people. And we drove 45 minutes into the middle of nowhere out to this big cattle ranch, and that's where we're gonna hunt today. So it should be good. The wind's supposed to be great today. We had some fresh snow here 3 or 4 days ago.
You know, the Sandhills in Nebraska have always been probably one of my favorite places to hunt. First of all, it's kind of my home territory where I grew up hunting. Second of all, it's such a diverse array of habitats here. You got the real rough, choppy hills, full of yuccas and soapweeds, whatever you want to call them. A little bit of sagebrush, and you get down in these big valleys that are full of meadows and rushes and lakes and tree rows and all kinds of stuff. Full of wildlife. There's all kinds of grouse, pheasants, rabbits, deer, you name it. Just a great place to get after coyotes.
I'll sneak down this draw right into that first stand. You and I'll sit right here. That way we can cover the winds going this way. So any coyote comes here out of funnel, we'll leave Matt here covering what we like to call the downwind, kind of the back door. Anything comes off that high hill, trying to get our wind, Matt can shoot it on that side hill. Or ideally, we'll get him right down in this bowl right here and kill him.
Well, I played some house and a couple coyote fights there. Didn't seem to work, so I'm gonna turn on a cottontail. To the left here, Matt's gonna take the lead one.
Got him.
You did? Nice.
That back coyote must have seen something.
Yeah.
Something he flipped around, but that lead one come in there. And that was 100 yards. You know, obviously we like to get him close, but that's on the downwind side of the stand.
Nothing wrong with that. That was good.
Matt had an 80-yard shot on this one. I actually had to jump up and move because I was been shooting right over Rick, so I got down here so we had some really good running shots, 200-yard running shots up that side hill. And I got lucky on about my 8th shot.
You know, it is the 4th of February, and in our neck of the woods, this far north, this is really when the females come into heat. And a lot of times, I've seen it this time of year, you get a female that, you know, they're only gonna be in heat for what, just a few days probably, right?
10 in, 10 out's what they say.
But a lot of times you'll get, if they haven't quite paired up yet and found a dominant male to stay with her, a lot of times there may be 2, even 3 males at a time will be right around one female. And so it's not gonna be unique today if we call in a triple or even a quad, and it would not surprise me if it was 1 female in heat and 3 males kind of trying to quarter and stuff. But this one will be prime dollar right now in the fur market.
You know, we're feeling good. We kill a double on the very first stand, and now it's just a matter of working our way through this property. You know, this is huge country, so you can't just start calling every half mile. You know, you really got to kind of pick and choose where exactly you're gonna make those stands, kind of understanding coyote behavior and what coyotes are doing in the morning versus the afternoon. And
Well, we just got done with the forest stand and kind of went through started out with rabbit and played coyote fight and this and that, and then we got Geoff's buddy Matt, the guy that's showing us around out here. We got him way downwind. What was he, 100 yards?
no more than that, he's probably 200 yards downwind of us. If you have the manpower and the gunpowder on stand, you know, put a guy, you know, downwind. Y'all 3 don't, or 2 guys don't need to be sitting right next to each other with your guns pointed in the same direction. You know, get spread out a little bit if you need to cover a little bit of different areas on the stand. And it paid off for us. We didn't get it on camera, but Matt killed a double, you know, 200 yards downwind of us that we would have never got shots at or even seen if he wouldn't have been down there.
But these coyotes were smart.
Yeah.
They made a big circle on us, probably 300 yards downwind of the call, which is what educated coyotes this time of the year like to do. And I don't know, we haven't even made it to Matt. You can kind of see him off down in the down on the horizon. We didn't even know he had 2. We only heard 1 shot barely with that suppressor. Never even heard the second shot, and he come over the hill, and he's got his fingers up, 2 coyotes. So
2 down, downwind. Leave somebody downwind. If you can't see the downwind, you better send somebody down there, right, Geoff?
Understanding the coyote is going to help you, when it comes to making decisions out there on stand and where you're going to make your stand and how you're going to approach those stands, what sound you're going to use to call. Understanding all that kind of thing is important.
But it's a male. Yep.
One of the cool features of this call, really first in the industry really, that I know of, is the fact that you can rotate this call, hence the name Revolution. On this stand we probably had, I don't know, 240, 250 degrees of callable area, where we hadn't spooked it with driving in the wind and whatnot, where we could have had coyotes coming from. So, I think that was one of the keys to this, being able to scan that call and really throw that sound down over this way, throw it back the other way. Obviously sound does scatter it doesn't go straight right out of the speaker, it does scatter, but the sound coming directly out here does carry a lot further than the sound kind of scattering off to the side. So just a really cool feature.
Straight out, Rick, straight out, straight out.
Shooting, Rick.
Man, that is a nice one. He was in his prime, look at that. Gonna change the dynamics around here tonight.
Rick and I are still arguing about who actually brought that coyote down, but either way, one of us got him, so the coyote didn't get away, but it turned out good. Another big male coyote. The afternoon got a little slow for us. We made 4 or 5 really just ideal stands in a row. Just in my opinion, there wasn't any coyotes there, but luckily towards the end, one of the coolest things we probably saw all trip, we're setting up once again, don't really have the camera set up and ready, and another coyote comes walking out underneath the bank right below us, and the dang thing has something in its mouth. Rick's trying to get on it to shoot it, sees us, drops whatever was in his mouth, takes off around the hill. Once again, we don't panic. We think, okay, we might have another shot at calling this coyote back in. And
I did a female long howl, I think, and maybe a male long howl, and just like that, she was coming back.
There he's coming straight ahead, coming in.
3 or 4 minutes into the stand, I think it's probably that same coyote got up a little higher on the hill, came in.
Let's see.
Come on.
Got to about 150 yards, spooked out. I don't know if it saw us, heard us. When something like that happens, don't panic. The coyote's probably gonna stop and give you a shot. Sure enough, it ran probably another 100 yards and stopped. We made a great shot on it. But it was kind of fun figuring out what that was in that coyote's mouth.
Afterwards, I said, that thing had a deer leg. He said, no, it's a jackrabbit. And I said, no, I don't think so. I'll bet you, I'll buy you dinner. If that's a rabbit, I'll buy you dinner tonight. And it was half a jackrabbit. You don't see stuff like that very often, and when you do, you remember it for a long time.
Hey, it's gonna be tough to beat the day we had yesterday.
Yeah.
But I think I lined up the guy. We're hunting with another rancher named Matt, good buddy of mine, been hunting with him for years up here on the family ranch. We're still in the heart of the Sandhills, Nebraska. We're about 40 miles north of where we were hunting yesterday, but first stand of the morning, there's a big long meadow, a big windy kind of creek bottom, a great place to find coyotes first thing in the morning. And it didn't take long, first stand, about as ideal as you can get.
We get set up, I do female long howl. This coyote answers right back, talk back and forth to it a little bit. Wait a couple minutes. You kind of want to wait it. You don't want to hurry, slap the rabbit on right after you get done howling. I like to think in my mind it's a scenario. So I howled, and then in my mind I tell myself, Now go get the rabbit.
Oh yeah, here he comes, here he comes. Right down the chute to us.
That don't get you pumped up. When they howl back like that, it's just like, you know, it's just like, ah. It's like, ah. Oh, that's perfect. Coyotes on this ranch get persecuted pretty hard with the cattle losses and calf losses every now and then.
I think I like these first two stands the second morning because they reminded me more of where I'm at, kind of down in the bottom with a creek drainage or some trees and a big open meadow.
And it was almost deja vu. This next stand, we slipped into another meadow down the way about a mile from where we made that first stand.
Yeah, it's a perfect little spot here. We can get a little elevation. Nice broken cover. This is really, on my rifle, you'll see I carry a static bipod on here as well as shooting sticks. When I get into a stand like this, these bipods are great. Problem is, when you're sitting on a little bit of an incline, they don't go high enough. So that's why I carry in a set of these shooting sticks with me. And that way I can adjust them a little higher when we're sitting on an incline. These are a little quicker to handle. For me, they're not quite as steady, but I can get the gun up higher where I need it. Get the gun in your shoulder, you're ready for the coyotes to come in.
Rick lets out some more female howls, and we get multiple coyotes howling on this one. Once again, same scenario. Let's stick with what's working. We played some rabbit. Here they come around the corner.
Oh, there he is, right out there, right out there. Maybe 400 yards.
Where I was sitting, the way that curve was, I didn't even, finally I heard Geoff say, coming to the howl, I mean, this lead one was actually, you wouldn't even need to turn any rabbit on. It probably would have been better if I would have just kept howling. But I turned TNT cottontail on there, and it come up there and kind of hung up, kept coming, and there was a second one. I only knew there was one, and then I seen that second one.
Just patience now. He's standing there looking at us. We're tucked in good. Be patient here. He'll give us a good shot.
Three of them.
Rick just couldn't take it. You couldn't take it any longer.
It checked up and acted like it was going to peel out of there, like it didn't like something. So I hurried up and got that lead one killed, and I probably shouldn't have, because I guess there was some more coming around behind that one, and
If I'd do it over again, I would have let you shoot that first one like you did, and then not shot at the running ones, and hit the pup, you know, pup fight or pup distress, and that third one might have kept coming in. I don't know.
My little problems I was having, I started having an anxiety attack. And I couldn't take it no more, and I thought, Nemnich's gonna shoot this freaking thing.
No, I was gonna shoot that one with my red dot, I thought. Oh, sweet. 99 yards. Should have been an inch high where you're aiming, huh?
I don't know, I put it right between his.
Well, it probably hit an inch above where your crosshairs were then, right? You have yours an inch high at 100?
Well, that's what I think.
Yeah. Oh, an inch high where your crosshairs were probably. Another big male.
That is a beautiful coyote.
Not really, he's not beautiful. He's got a little mange on him. Kind of the early stages of mange, they start to get this pink belly on him. He's even losing some hair. And then on their back right here, they kind of get a dirty look on their neck and their back. A lot of times you'll see coyotes out there in the distance and they look dark on their top there. And that's really what that is. There's just no value to them. Really, I mean.
Look at that old sucker. I'll bet Matt called him in before a few times. Probably you too, Nemnich.
Late in the season's always tough. You know, you start getting into the time that we're in right now, the first part of February, you're talking about coyotes that have been hunted hard. You're talking about less coyotes than there were 3 months ago. You know, maybe an upwards of half 50% less coyotes this time of year, just with coyotes getting shot, dying of mange, and different things. So you throw all that into the mix, and those coyotes that are alive or left have probably been hunted a little bit, especially up in this country. The hunting is pretty popular. The coyote pelts are worth money. The ranchers are trying to keep the numbers down a little bit, you know, before they start calving here in the next month. So coyotes are persecuted pretty hard up in this country. So we have to throw some different tricks and things at them to make coyotes want to come into the call. And we've seen a little bit of all that this trip. We just sat down. There's 2 coyotes out on this far meadow here. So we're gonna sneak through this saddle. The coyotes are out there just mousing. We'll slip around this side hill. That's on the neighbor's property, but we'll call them in. We got about a 200-yard buffer to get them onto Matt's property where we can shoot them. So let's slip in there and see what happens. Okay, we just moved positions. I think this is gonna be right. We got a little elevation, we're not too high, but that call ought to carry clear across that meadow. Hopefully those coyotes will hear it. They're a long ways, but I have confidence that revolution will put out enough sound to get it on their ears. Oh, I think that's him, Yeah, here he comes. He's still about 600 out, but he's definitely coming. Probably gonna pop up. He's circling a little left here. I'm gonna get my gun moved here while he's on the other side of the hill. Oh, there he is. There's it. Well, while Rick pouts his way over there to the top of the hill, where he's gonna look. He might have got it. I don't know. It didn't look like it hit to me, but a lot of times shooting these suppressors, you hear the pop of that bullet, the whack. But it's real windy though too, so a lot of times you don't. But it's just a testament to really how great of hearing a coyote has, and really the volume that the Revolution's putting out. You know, these coyotes were probably 1,200 yards into about a quartering wind, 15 mile an hour wind probably at least. You know, he did some howling to start off, and then I think they finally heard the rabbit. And, you know, that's almost 3/4 of a mile that those coyotes could hear that call. And a little on the smart side, they made a little bit of a circle, but it was pretty cool nonetheless to watch a coyote come that far.
There's no excuse for missing a coyote. If you miss a coyote at 140 yards, then you ought to have to sit in a truck for a couple stands. But it bothers me to miss, but I know it happens, and I hate to be the one to do it too. And
this is what we call the walk of shame. Rick made the big loop. He's almost He's walking off his frustrations. I feel bad for the guy, I really do. But that's what makes this fun. It's fun to bust each other's chops when you miss a chip shot like that.
Do you have a passion for the hunt? For shows, tips, trips, and product information, check out passionforthehunt.com. And for the latest photos and adventures, don't forget to like us on Facebook.